Hi, my name is Jane Lute, and I'm delighted to join CyFy 2020. I can't think of a better forum to take a one-sided conversation into a small screen and turn it into a dynamic dialogue across every manner of human divide. The year 2020 is presenting us with many questions, pushing issues to the forefront in a way that we've never grappled with before. We're dealing right now, obviously, with a global pandemic. Also, at the same time, we're dealing with a severe economic downturn in many parts around the world, social reckoning for issues such as the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter in the United States and elsewhere around the world, and very contentious political processes. How can we make sense of this? How can we use this pandemic as an opportunity, not for pandemonium, but for innovation and forward progress? I'd like to focus on our institutions. Where are the areas that they can innovate and help us through this crisis? They've become stressed under all the weight of expectations that we've put on them over the years. I want to focus particularly on government. I think governments are good for three fundamental things: delivering the threshold conditions of security, well-being, and justice for the societies that they're designed to serve. What is security? Certainly security is freedom from fear, but it's also, at the same time, in my view, the responsible exercise of power. What is well-being? Fundamentally, it's about widespread access to economic opportunity. That does imply levels of education and levels of public health that are equally widespread available. But well-being also involves a safety net for the most vulnerable among us, and justice. Justice certainly, in my view, again, fundamentally, is having a say in how you're governed. But it's also about peaceful ways to manage change. And that's certainly what we need in this year of unprecedented upheaval. Governments need to recognize the importance of information and transparency for the public. I think the powerful norm of transparency is well settled in every society around the world. Nothing about me without me. What is happening? And what should I do about what's happening? And what are you doing about what's happening? We're seeing that when people aren't informed, they'll take matters into their own hands. And during the pandemic, there has been a lot of confusion around information, yet people are proving their resilience and taking matters into their own hands and innovating in very clever ways, finding clever solutions for homeschooling or pod schooling, for example, in the United States, collaborating across time and distance with ease now. And it happened almost overnight. They're maintaining production under stress and opening up new service economies every single day. You can find PPE, for example, in vending machines increasingly when once there were shortages. But this access to information and the role of government in security, well-being, and justice, and the importance of information, particularly in a crisis, because when you don't have an informed population, you don't have a stable population. So what do governments need to do? What do our institutions need to do in being more creative and innovative when it comes to sharing information? Identify early what's happening and what we can do about what's happening, how to make best practice common practice for the greatest number. Governments need to mobilize, our institutions need to mobilize the resources to address these crises, to deal with the stress that populations are under, and get that best practice out into the hands of those who need it. How many of us log on every day and go to governments for the first source of information? We don't. We go to our own social media, we go to private sector media, and governments are important sources of information for us, particularly when it comes to major scale challenges like the economic downturn and the challenges to public health brought on by the coronavirus. I think, we talk about a return to normal. Perhaps we want to return to normal, but we do not want to return to business as usual. Too many have been left behind in our business as usual approaches, and this is an opportunity for us to change that reality. We can't handle the magnitude and the complexity and the velocity of change that we're experiencing today if we just go back to business as usual. So what might an innovative approach to delivering value look like for governments and for our institutions? Certainly we want a safe and healthy workplace, and we want a safe and healthy workforce globally. We need our institutions to validate, again, what best practice is, to educate and spread the word, and to learn, continuously learn what we need to do to adapt to these changing circumstances. We need to get our kids back in school so parents can get back to work. And we need to really understand what it means to do inclusion, to value diversity, to bring equality to the experience of every person entering the workforce, being born today, trying to get an education and get ahead. You know, great crises like great wars are known not just by what they destroy, but by what they create. And out of this crisis, we will and can create stronger societies and a better way. We shouldn't miss this chance.